Sonic, he's more than speed. Sonic has always been more than just a speed-focused game. Now, speed is about 60% of Sonic, and Sonic Team has done a very good job in modernizing and pushing the formula forward. When the boost formula first came out, that was hype. But something happened, because the 40% of Sonic's identity has never been addressed. Not since Sonic 06. I want to get back to why that's very significant and why that matters. But first, let's get a history lesson here. Sonic came out with speed. In fact, that was his gimmick back in the day. Nothing but speed. Sonic the Hedgehog was fast, cool, always jumping, always moving, always zooming, loop-loops and everything. That was his stick back in the day. Sonic was made to rival Mario, and for a time he did well. He did amazingly. Then Sonic 2 came out, and that was also great. We introduced Tails. We had a little more world building, but not really. He had a show. And then Sonic 3 came out, and if you know anything, Sonic and Knuckles was the jam back in the day. Honestly, the pattern is that Sonic has added more and more characters to his roster, to his world. The Sonic IP was so popular back in the day that Knuckles got his own game, Knuckles Chaotix. This was a weird game, but he got it. We had Sonic Pinball, and even Dr. Robotnik, or Eggman, got Green Bean Machine or Mean Bean Machine, I forgot the name. Fun game, especially 2 players. This continued with Adventuer, where we got Big the Cat and Amy Rose. If you didn't watch the show, or even read the comics, Amy was a completely new character out left field for you. And she was amazing. This girl was just Sonic stir crazy, but she had a heart of gold. And she even conquered her fear. I'm not gonna lie, she can swing a mallet, and that was amazing. We got Big the Cat. Honestly, he just likes his frog. That's about it. That's about it. But the thing that mattered the most in Sonic Adventure wasn't Sonic. Sure, his levels were amazing, the music was popping, and what was going on was great, but his character didn't change. But Knuckles and Tails did. Knuckles, for the longest point, was just some hothead who got fooled by Eggman, tricked by Eggman, and fought over Sonic. I mean, he was a jam. Knuckles was the big deal. He knocked the Chaos Emerald straight out of Super Sonic. That's a big of a deal he was. And now here in Adventure, we see a man who's actually just honoring his duty. He's an honor-bound guardian for the Master Emerald. That's massive. That's huge. Tails went from the guy who's literally riding Sonic's coattails, right, being a sidekick, to now fighting Eggman, beating Eggman, and making... Oh, okay, listen. This kid is smart, smarter than he needs to be, and if he had money like Eggman, he would make his own egg fleet. I swear to God, or his own tail fleet, whatever you want to call it. Tail carrier, it'll be awesome. And this game, it did numbers. It was great. And then we got Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, where they do the same thing yet again. They expand the world, expand the roster, and create more dichotomy between the characters. So not only is Tail versus Eggman, because you know, knowledge versus knowledge. We got speed versus speed with Sonic and Shadow. Literally, Shadow is just edgy, cool Sonic. Backstory, die, Maria, yada yada. And then we got Rouge and Knuckles. That's the perfect dichotomy there, if you guys didn't realize it. He's a guardian, guarding a very valuable gem. She's a thief. It writes itself. It really does write itself. Now let's talk about the gameplay real quick. Just real quick. Speed stages, fantastic. Improvement made over time, from grind railing to boosting, jumping, all the tech that you actually have, beautiful. Treasure stages, I love them. The music there carries so much, but after a while, once you learn the stage, because that's what a treasure chest, a treasure hunt stage is. Learn the stage, learn the clue, learn the layouts. You wouldn't have a problem. You can finish this stuff so fast. Most of the time, under a minute and a half for me. That's my personal best. I'm not gonna grind for perfection, but people can and people have. And then we got an extension on the combat to what E102 is. Now, I didn't mention him at all because I believe that he died too soon. Oh my god, let me be honest with you. I love and miss this robot. Sure, his gameplay was Hobie shoot. But like, his story was so good. It was horrifying. Realizing, as a child, that this man was essentially gained sentience and was told to hunt down his bros. And then he was going to be used to make a better version of himself. And then he had just had to come to terms with that. Like, I wish we had more on this, on him as a character in general. I wish we had more from him. But Sonic Team wants to move up from that. Fine. At least the RG comics do him some justice. Some justice. I do have to talk about the Child Garden. But first, I'm talking about Sonic Heroes for a second. Sonic Heroes was an okay game. It's a one-time playthrough game for me, really. Maybe you can go back if you really enjoy some of the music and stages. I could revisit every now and then, but I don't see myself ever playing that game to completion ever again. I did it once. And the reason I will never go back to it is because there is no Child Garden. Why wouldn't you put that in this game? Arguably, Sonic Heroes has less content than Adventure 2. Has arguably the same gameplay with minor differences changes when it comes to Sonic, Dark, Chaos, and Rose. And yet, that game that needed something to keep you playing for years, which would be the Child Garden, didn't have it. You doubled the amount of characters you can play with, essentially. Yeah, you know, quote, air quotes. But you don't do anything with that. I would love to have a child that looks like Aspiel. Like, please, God, give me that. Right? Because the Child Garden does something that I didn't know I needed as a child. It gave me a reason to continue to play the game. And I think that's what Sonic, in general, is missing. A reason to complete the game and keep playing afterwards. I can get S-Rings all I want. That's not a problem, right? You just grind it away. You get in the zone, listen to the music, you get it. You always succeed in that. But after that, what else? Well, in Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, and even Sonic Adventure, you had the Child Garden. You had something else you could do. Something to sink in all the rings you're gonna get. Something to put your time into. Something that keeps the game playing the game. Now, I'm gonna put a pin on that for now. But let's talk about Sonic 06 for a moment and how that damaged the IP moving forward for years that we didn't even know how Sonic Team got affected by it. Sonic is more than speed, and Sonic 06 shows that because you have all these other different ways to play the game. You can get Tails, you have cars, motorcycles, Shadow with guns, you have multiple stories, and honestly, Sonic Team threw everything in the kitchen sink into Sonic 06, except that it was a mess. It didn't pan out. I don't want to go through all the memes, but we all know that Sonic 06 is a horrendous product, and that affected how Sega moved forward when it came to Sonic Team and Sonic as an IP. It's weird that no one has noticed this, but after that game, Sonic 06, you haven't been able to ever play as any other characters in the Sonic universe. Sure, Shadow, but I don't count that because that's just an Echo Fighter. That's just literally an Echo Fighter. A reskin, voiceover, yada yada, that doesn't count. In retrospect, I really do like Sonic Unleashed. It's a good title, phenomenal music. I love the night stages. They've grown on me over the years. But I asked myself, why couldn't that be Knuckles? Why did I have to get someone, or why did Sonic have to become a werewolf in general, and why couldn't it just be Knuckles? If I'm gonna be punching, slashing, uppercutting, why couldn't that just be Knuckles? This could literally be Sonic and Knuckles too. And with a couple mods, it is. But it begs the question, why didn't Sonic Team use Knuckles? Use the people in their roster. Use the world or the characters that they have introduced over the years. And I believe it's because Sega told them, after Sonic 06, you had one job to make a good Sonic game. Why are you adding all this extra gameplay that isn't Sonic? And moving forward, that's what Sonic Team did. they hyper-focus on Sonic's gameplay and the speed formula, the boost formula if you want to call it. And they did amazing. Like, the speed formula has been refined, so much so that they're thinking of a different way to approach it now. But it still begs the question, why couldn't this just be Knuckles? Let's move on past Sonic Unleashed. Sonic Colors is essentially Sonic with Mario power-ups. That's essentially what that game is. Now, do I mind it? No, it's good. It's fine. Fantastic. The Wisps do add a level of complexity to the gameplay. Some stages are built around one Wisp, other stages are built around several Wisps, and you can just use them every now and then. Right? They just change the gameplay ever so slightly. Or they just give you massive speed, which is great. Then we got Generation, a celebration of Sonic's history. That was cool. That was great. Enjoyed the gameplay, enjoyed the callbacks. And then we got Lost World. And Lost World, personally, I think is the best. The free running is a little jank, massively so. But with a little bit of tweaking, maybe affecting game, maybe some more time dedicated to Sonic Lost World, this can go far. I'm skipping over forces because essentially it's Sonic with a gun, and then you play as Sonic. So there ain't much variation there. And that brings us to Frontier. If you notice, pre-06, we had more gameplay styles, more character-focused stories. We have more of a character web in the Sonic games. But after 06, that all stopped and dropped. My biggest case in point for this is Sonic Colors. Why is Tails there? If Tails was taken out, and it's just Sonic venturing forth, seeing Eggman do his stuff, messes around with it, that's what needs to happen. That's all that really needs to happen. But you don't see Sonic without Tails in any of his games. It's impossible for you to think of that. Even when it comes to Sonic Mania, you do not see Sonic without Tails. Shoot, you don't see Sonic without Tails and Knuckles. You don't. That's a perfect trifecta. Red, yellow, blue. That's a perfect trifecta. My point being is that Sonic is more than just speed. And I understand that that's what he is as a character. But Sega and Sonic Team, the Archie series, has made a huge roster of characters you can draw from. You do not have to constantly experiment with Sonic and reinvent the wheel with him. You can have Shadow, Knuckles, Rouge. In fact, look, let's just take Rouge for a second. You can make a game where she's basically Sly Cooper. That's what she does. That's literally what she does. She's a treasure hunter. She's Sly Cooper. She can just go around stealing stuff. With Tails, you can make an Ace Combat game. Just saying, it's possible. It's in the cards. This man already made an aircraft into an air jet. In fact, just hear me out. I would love to play a Mario Party game where it's the Wisp versus the Chows. Just saying, I would love that. Hey, it might just be me, but I would love that. Personally, I would love that. Cream and Cheese can do some Animal Crossing stuff. It doesn't seem like I'm crazy, does it now? We can get a game solely focused around Knuckles. The Chaos Emeralds sent him back in time for some weird reason. It happens. We got visions of the past thanks to the Chaos Emeralds before. It can happen. What I'm saying at the end of the day, Sonic Team and Sega has a lot of potential that they're not using because they're afraid to do anything else than use Sonic. With good reason. Sonic 06 did a damage to the IP moving forward. So much so that they restructure how they make their games and what they focus on. And that's not a bad thing. But I think it's time to move on from just speed-centered gameplay that Sonic has. You have other characters. I'm not saying Sonic shouldn't be focused on speed. That's your stick. Sonic name speeds the game. But you have more than just Shadow, Silver, Blaze, and Sonic. Even Amy if you want to counter the speed. You can use Knuckles, Rouge, Tails, Gamma. You can do so much more. I know you can. In fact, if you really want to, you can just make a WarioWare game with Sonic characters. It will work. That's how deep the rosters go. But hey, yo, this is just a crazy bots talking. I'm definitely not bots. If you agree, if you disagree, let me know. I personally would like to play as a Ace Combat game with Tails, or a Sly Cooper game with Rouge, or you know, some treasure focused game with Knuckles, right? I don't mind fishing games, but I want to see Amy make a pancake. You know, maybe she can do a cafe, or maybe she can just save Sonic like that one Peach game. Personally, I think Sonic has a lot more, there's more potential here that Sega or Sonic Team isn't tapping into. Maybe Kishimoto will blow out the water for the next few Sonic games. Maybe we'll have more spin-offs. Maybe we'll do some more. Who knows? I hope we do. I really hope we do. It's about time. It's about time we get more than just Sonic. Because Sonic is more than Speed. Sonic is also Tails, Knuckles, Amy, Shadow, Rouge, Eggman. Sonic is all those characters. This has been Definitely Not a Box. Thank you for hearing me out, and have a good one.